So my name is Omar Abasad. It is 5:04 p.m., March 19, 2021. So I've been posting a bunch of EKGs and showing the algorithm behind the palpitations. There is definitely a pattern to the palpitations. And of course, heart palpitations don't happen in patterns. So the patterns is a good evidence that I am being remotely assaulted. So I'm being harassed in the building because it's part of the experiment that the signals are part of. So there is a male who's updating me. You know, we get updates for COVID. Well, there is a male out there who is updating me and talking about my being in custody in a few days. The report is uploaded, and the cops are verifying things about me, of course, without asking. And there's all kinds of information on the YouTube that's contradicting what I'm being harassed with, and what I'm being harassed with is in the report. No questioning. So in the targeting program, it's all one way. So the target's voice is suppressed. So I wasn't questioned. All the interactions I had with the cops is a direct result of the targeting in the building. I had absolutely none before, absolutely none. Um, so um, Even the speeding tickets, I never had a speeding ticket before I came here. Um, so um, these interactions are a direct result of the lies that's being told and the one-sidedness. So the cops, and I posted the video where the cop came to my home and pronounced me mentally ill and paranoid and delusions of grandeur when I said I was being gang stalked. There are videos posted that proves that I was being gang stalked, and there was a contract out on me to be surveilled, so I was being stalked. I'm being stalked right now. And also with the palpitations, with this new cardiomobile device, which is quite accurate, um, FDA approved. It shows the palpitations when I'm around a computer, when I'm around the cell phone. It shows that the number of palpitations increases. And decreases when I'm shielded or away from the computer. So I am electromagnetically sensitive, as I was telling the cops when they came to my home and harassed me. So that was number one. Number two, there were Muslim families living beside me, and they lied. They were subcontracting. I believe Gord had the contract at the time. And they called and they set me up saying that something about knocking doors and so on, knocking on doors, when they had kids and the kids were actually doing it. The kids were pulling the fire alarms, the kids were playing with the basketball, bumping the basketball on my door. When they had visitors, they would use the corridor as a playground, screaming and yelling, just screaming and yelling like in a playground. They were doing it. And then they told the cops that I was knocking on doors and so on. So, of course, being a target, and the cops are using that information or misinformation to justify coming into my home. In this case, they justified pulling me out. Um, so I wasn't home. They ambushed me, basically. There was no emergency. I came in after having lunch with a friend. The friend was with me. I drove in, parked, and came up, knock, knock, knock. I stepped out because I had my friend inside, and she heard the entire thing. And I'm getting pulse in my chest right now. Um, and you could actually feel the impact outside him. And so I stepped out in the corridor, and they asked to come in. I said, well, we could talk in the corridor. And that was all I said. And out came the cuffs, pulled my hands behind my back, and I had socks on. I was dressed because I came dressed for the outside because I had just come in. Without shoes, I had my socks on. Um, cuffed me behind my back, and so I said, "Well, I want to put my shoes on." Nope, they will not let me put my shoes on. So after slamming me against the wall, lifting me, slamming me against the wall after or before they cuffed me. So when I asked to put the shoes on, I put my hand on the door on the handle to come in to get my shoes. So that was the point at which they pulled my hands behind my back. But there was absolutely no reason to slam me against the wall. I'm 4'11". These cops were 6 feet tall. They were both white, and just slammed me against the wall, and then cuffed me, and then lifted me one on each side, lifted me under the arm, walked me down the corridor. So I kept saying, and my friend is in here in the unit. I kept saying, I want to put my shoes on. I want to put my shoes on. I wasn't resisting arrest. First of all, they told me I was not under arrest. So I wasn't resisting arrest. If I wasn't under arrest, then I wasn't resisting. But I wasn't resisting because all I wanted to do was put my shoes on. So this is the way they took me in. They relented, and I did put my shoes, slip the shoes on. The friend helped because my hand was cuffed. So, and that's the second time. The third time, when I called 911, they did not take notes. They attended the scene, did not take notes about my being harassed. The two Muslim women who lied, who harassed me, went home and lied, called and lied, and said I was harassing them, just like the Muslim people in the building who said that I was harassing them when they were harassing me. Same idea, exactly the same idea, exactly. Out came the cops, knock, knock, knock. Um, can I come in? I said, we can talk outside. So I stepped out. Same idea. Out came the cuffs. Absolutely no questioning. None whatsoever. And I almost died in custody. And I got a heart attack after that, but it was never diagnosed because I'm a target. It's all a cover up. So the EKGs prove that the cops are covering up something. It proves that I am electromagnetically sensitive. The videos and the contract proves that I am being stalked. And yet they're insisting that something is wrong with me mentally when I'm talking about the truth. So they are covering up. So here we go again. And this is an ongoing effort because, and I am getting pulse in my chest, so I'm going to do the EKG after. And when I get a pulse to the chest, it's supposed to be a deterrent because the system can be put on automatic or it can be operated manually, the electronic system that's working with these signals. And I think the active denial system is being used as one of the equipment in this building. So yeah, so I'm telling the truth. Obviously, there's proof I'm telling the truth, but the truth should not be heard because then it would counter what is being tried or what is attempted to be done to commit me. But all the evidence that shows that there is no mental illness is deliberately ignored by the Toronto police, the ones who are working on this case, deliberately ignored. It's kind of like the Paul Bernardo case, where the DNA test, the sample was on the shelf for 2 years. That was an inside job. That was done deliberately. That wasn't a communication problem. That was an inside job. There was an underlying pedophile ring underneath the Paul Bernardo's case, as there is in the Russell Williams case. This is a common thread, and it is in this case. There is a trafficking ring that's underlying this whole thing. As PK's video proved, He's so confident, this Chinese trafficking pimp, that he is covered and he's working for the, in fact, he says it in the message he left on the phone. He said it. He's working for the highest of the high. It's fixed, it's covered. He could do this openly and nothing would be done to him. But I'm the one who's going to be criminalized because I'm the one who is being trafficked and defamed and degraded to cover what's going on. And eventually, that misinformation is going to be used to dispose of me when I'm all used up, all cannibalized. And that's it's a satanic agenda, which is a New World Order agenda, which is what we're seeing unfolding right now under the COVID-19 agenda. COVID-19, in my opinion, is a cover to get us chip tracked, database, data mined, and disposed of at the very end for a very small group of people to make money off the process and us. I heard in the news that euthanasia, medically assisted suicide, is getting more and more easy for doctors to do and for patients to apply for and get. Well, this is the agenda. Under COVID-19, there are kids who are talking about suicide, kids who are not even teenagers yet talking about trying to kill themselves. Why is that? Because the New World Order agenda is a depopulation agenda. They don't care how they get it done. It doesn't matter, whatever it takes. Well, depression is one way. To get people to try to kill themselves is one way. So the reason I'm doing this is because there is an ongoing attempt, because a target is targeted for life. And it's a never ending, just like COVID-19 is going to be never ending with the mutations and the never ending vaccinations. The targeting in my case is going to be never ending until you die. Under COVID-19, it's going to be never ending until you die. Same idea, same template is being used because it's driven by the same agenda, the New World Order agenda, which is a depopulation agenda, which is a torture program, which is an MK Ultra-like torture program. It's to break you down for you to submit to a system that's being brought in by a satanic group of people who wants to take you over, not only enslave you, but to take you over soul and all, put a chip in your brain and to literally run you like a robot, as Bill Gates talked about, for money, all for money. This is about making money. This is about making money. So there is a parallel in my case, in my targeting program, to what is going on under the COVID-19 so-called pandemic. As some people call it, scamdemic. It's ongoing, it's never going to end. It's never going to end. So in my case, I am doing this because it's never going to end. It's an ongoing attempt to get me disposed of, to get me mentally committed. It's an ongoing attempt to suppress my voice, to degrade me, to dehumanize me, to use covert means, directed energy weapons, set up frames, infiltration, poisonings, all lies, out and out lies, deliberate stretching of the truth, deliberate painting of the truth to make something that's not criminal seems, get to make it look like something innocent, take something innocent and make it look like it's a criminal act. It's ongoing, never ending, just like COVID-19, never ending. COVID-19 is to destroy the economy, destroy our democracy, to destroy, and I read Dr. Mercola's article on this, and I'll read an article another time, but it's the same idea, the same template, the same agenda. So I am not mentally ill, as I've proven, but my voice is suppressed. So this side is not, of the story is not going to be told in a courtroom, but it's all here. It's all here with evidence that will be admitted in court. But what is being submitted in the court is not going to stop this agenda going from being played out. Like the legal system has no bearing, no impact on this program because it's operating outside of the legal system. It's a covert program. It really doesn't matter what happens in the legal system. It really doesn't matter. It's like Epstein. Epstein got put in a, I just got a pulse again in the chest. Epstein got put in jail, supposedly committed suicide. But I'm sure that the ring that he was operating is still operating, but under different people. There's still sex slave rings all over the place. All over the place. And some of the people who are running it are going to be exposed eventually because Ghislaine Maxwell's file is going to be exposed eventually. So all the names are going to be coming out of that. But that ring is still there. Even though some of the people are pulled into the legal system, these rings are still operating. So I just got paused on the breast, and that's the breast. So again, this detector is a very good detector from a reputable company, GQ-EMF 390. So these numbers are real. These numbers are real. So I just got a pulse on the chest. So the back and the chest, the way it feels with these beams and these signals, it feels like pressure is being exerted on the body. And with the heat and with the microwaves, it clots the blood, makes the blood thicker, causes inflammation, swelling of the internal organs when certain organs are focused on, like the heart. Those palpitations are caused because the beams are directly aimed at the heart, especially when I sleep. But I shield when I sleep. But when they turn up the power really, really high, the shielding, depending on what I use, is not sufficient. So I could die in my sleep very easily. And it's going to be murder. If I do die in my sleep, it's going to be murder. And the person's name who's on the contract should be held responsible for it. And the cops who are working with the person should be held responsible for it. In fact, if you go back and backtrack 15 years, all the people on that file should be held responsible. They're complicit. So as I was saying, the signals, it exerts pressure. So not only the blood is affected, but the veins are affected. It collapses veins, arteries, and it increases your blood pressure, and it affects your heart. So if you have a valve problem, and I do have 2 valve problems, but not very not bad, just livable with, and I'm told common in a lot of people. But if you are being affected this way, then small issues become big ones. A small problem can be made into a bigger problem. So in my case, when the palpitations happen frequently, it skips the beat, which means that the heart is not pumping the blood when you skip a beat, which is driven by the electrical pulses that's run in a certain fashion through the heart, from what I studied. Um, when the electricity is interrupted by these technologies, which is electrical based, the pulse doesn't flow through the heart. Therefore, the the pulse of electricity doesn't flow through the heart as it should, and this is what drives the synchronized fashion that the heart beats. So one part contracts, the other part, the valve opens up, the blood flows through. The other part contracts, goes through the lungs, comes back in. All these things have to be done in a certain time, within a certain time, and within in a specific pattern, right? That pattern is driven by the electrical currents. When that's interrupted, it doesn't beat as it should. The blood backs up. And if you have a valvular problem, it exacerbates it. And of course, you can get clots if it doesn't beat properly. If the impulse of electricity doesn't happen, and the next cycle doesn't get picked up, the next beat doesn't get picked up, then you can go into arrhythmia. My understanding of the way it works, not being a doctor. So the heart compensates by increasing the blood pressure, so which makes your heart work a lot harder than it normally would, which thickens the muscles in the heart. And that's not good, because the muscles in the heart has to be flexible in order to contract. It has to, if it's too thick, it wouldn't contract properly. So if you have a valve problem and the heart is working to compensate, but the valve problem is not, it's not really bad, then you can live a normal life if you exercise and eat properly and so on. But if you're constantly hit with these technologies that makes your heart work and work and work day and night, because your heart is not resting at night when you get pulsed, then it shortens your life. Of course, you can get a heart attack anytime. And this is what's happening here. Now, do I sound mentally ill? Do I sound mentally retarded? I have the, I have the wherewithal to research this and to understand what's going on, buy the technology, try to investigate it, and try to figure out how to make it better or how to stop it, how to avoid getting a heart attack, how to stop these signals that's affecting the way it works. And yet you have perpetrators reporting that I'm mentally retarded. So this is all part of the targeting program, all part of the targeting program, to degrade you, to suppress your voice, to make you look like you're mentally ill, and completely ignore what you're saying, completely ignore your evidence, completely ignore your side of the story. So I'm going to take my EKG when this is done, and I'll post it at the bottom of this video.